Hi, welcome to the Lifestyle Show with me, Anthony Jordan. So, guys, we have another very packed show for you. It's a bit of a political one. There's a lot to talk about. A lot of things, should I say, have been happening this week, and we're going to discuss them in great detail. So, what can I say? From 8:05, we will have Paul Phoenix and Reverend Michael King, who will be joining us talking about the Windrush scandal. They will be giving us all the information required on that and giving us all the information in case you know anyone and can provide some support. Then we will have Alison Johnson from the Initiative Party. Some of you may be familiar with Alison Johnson due to the Cadian Nelson incident that happened, but we'll be talking to her in greater detail about that and all about the Initiative Party. Then we will be moving on to a guest that I had the pleasure of interviewing a few years ago at 7:40, the one and only Miss Sherry Ann Dixon, who's currently in Guyana. So we'll be finding out what she's been up to and talking about her career up to today and all the things that she's been up to. At 7:55, we will have Daddy Ernie, Crystal Rose, and Roderick Lynch, who will be joining us to talk about a few comments that have been made by LBC's Nick Ferrari. If you missed that one, we will be going into detail on that and talking about what the media should be saying and what they shouldn't be saying, being a bit more careful with your words. Then we will be moving into the entertainment corner. But before that, we will definitely have Norman Basigo again with Spotlight at 8 o'clock. And then we will have Stevie J for the music. Put my teeth back in. We will have Stevie J for the Stevie J Chart Show, and a warm welcome to Tanai Brown, who will be back to show us his latest album and music video. But before that, we have a few news items that we would like to discuss. So one story that the Lifestyle Show has been very, very focused on is the murder of the sisters in Friant Park, which is Nicole Smallman and Bieber Henry. The two young ladies were sadly murdered around the time of Bieber Henry's birthday, and a young gentleman has been detained. But however, during the search, there have been a few situations that have not been very positive in regards to the police. And recently, the police and the IOPD have investigated into 6 more officers due to their misconduct in this situation. As some of you may know, we did mention that there was a story of selfies, and they're a bit more in terms of what could have been in terms of the search. So do keep it here with Lifestyle. As we hear more, we will definitely keep you posted on that. Also, a big congratulations goes out to a young lady by the name, a pioneer in the history of the UK, Cicely Allen, the first black policewoman. Britain's first black policewoman has been honoured with a Lifetime Achievement Award at a ceremony celebrating Black, Asian and minority ethnic female officers. 82-year-old Cicely Faye Allen, a former nurse, joined the Metropolitan Police in 1968, paving the way for other women of colour. Speaking from her home in Jamaica, Mrs. Allen said she feels honoured and humbled after being awarded the accolade, marking 50 years since she first made history. In a virtual ceremony held by the College of Policing, National Police Chiefs Council and the National Black Police Association, Mrs. Allen was recognised for her desire to have a career in police despite the discrimination she suffered. So Cicely Allen, congratulations to you on the 50th anniversary, such a marking event. And we would be remiss to not also mention that while talking of the police, a huge congratulations to Steve McQueen. Yes, we may not have agreed with all that we saw during Lovers Rock, but Red, White and Blue was a fantastic portrayal. John Boyega playing, of course, Leroy Logan, a former guest that we had on the show. He delivered an absolute fantastic performance, and it's one that many people all around have really taken on and appreciated. So well done to you, Steve. Well done to John for being the strong performer that you always have been and will be. Great stuff ahead for John Boyega. And of course, congratulations to Leroy Logan, who, despite all the challenges he went through, has been able to become such a pioneer and recognized member within the police force. So a great celebration there. So those are a few bits there that we just wanted to get there and pass our congratulations and thanks on to these pioneers in the industry. Right, so we're going to go off to a short break, and after that, we will be talking about the current Windrush scandal and where we're at the moment. See you after the break. Hi, welcome back to the Lifestyle Show. So, as we mentioned briefly, and some of you may have seen based on a recent television and film that we had sitting in limbo, there has been quite a crisis with regards to those who came over to the UK via the Windrush and of that nature. Oh, sorry. Hello there, Angela Nash. Thank you. Hi, how are you? Hope you're all as well. So, yes, going back to the situation, there has been a scandal due to those who have the legal right to be in the UK due to the Windrush. And however, there has been mentions. This started off with Theresa May, who tried to deport these people illegally, even though they had a right to stay there. Due to complications in paperwork, many people were detained and others have been denied rights and benefits that have been owed to them. So right now, we're going to talk to two people who are very vocal and focal to this. They've helped engineer this and provide support here. So right now, it'd be a pleasure to welcome Mr. Paul Phoenix. Hi there, Paul. How are you? Sorry, Paul, you're muted there.
All right, so hang on a minute. Hang on. Let me hang on a minute. Where's the button? Where's the thing?
Yeah, no, we got you. I can hear you. I can hear you there, Paul. Thank you. And also, I would also like to welcome at this time Reverend Michael King. Hi there,
Hi,
Reverend. How are
greetings to you, Anthony. Hello, Paul.
Hi. Thank you both for your time, and more importantly, before I even go ahead with this, thank you both for the commitments you have both have put forward in this situation that is currently going on. What I would like to do before we do go into this, Paul, can you tell us your story regarding the situation, how you've been affected by the Windrush scandal?
Well, I've been affected by the Windrush, and you're quite right. It is a scandal. I came here with the British Army Armed Forces, and first, I must say, there is no job description on this earth that tells you you have to put your life on the line. And that is what we signed up for coming into the armed forces. And a lot of people have got to realize this. The people in the armed who came here to be in the armed forces, who were recruited primarily from the West Indies to join the British Armed Forces, did so on an expectation that they would put their life on the line. That's a job description you don't find anywhere else in our society, first and foremost. Yes, it is a scandal. I do not think that the people who came to this country to help rebuild this country should be treated in this manner. It's unbelievable. I mean, we are talking here about the one of the world's leading industrial, academic, social, religious, call it what you like, places on the planet.
Yeah.
And for a government to turn around and treat people in this manner, it is unbelievable. It is disgusting.
Yeah, indeed. Reverend Michael, you're quite instrumental in the fact that your father, the late Reverend Samuel King, was instrumental in setting up the Windrush Foundation itself, which was to honor the memory of the same people that Paul has mentioned, people who made such a great sacrifice in order to help the UK, and then the mistreatment has happened. Tell us more about the Windrush Foundation and why it was established.
Well, my father began the Windrush Foundation as a foundation to recognize the contribution of the Windrushers and the subsequent generation to the United Kingdom. I often say this, there's an African proverb that says, until the lions have their own historians, tales of hunting will always glorify the hunter. And in this instance, the Windrush generation and us, we're the lions. But the tales of history have been completely distorted by the indigenous population of the UK. I give God thanks that now the truth is coming out. So my father set up the foundation. He's the founder, person, member, creator of the Windrush Foundation, so that we recognize their contribution. He's also a Windrusher. He came back on the Windrush. He's also written a book that I've got here, one, Climbing Up the Rough Side of the Mountain by Sam King. It reflects the fact that of those on the Windrush, the 500 odd, everyone misses, first of all, they were invited to come and rebuild the mother country after the devastation of the Second World War. Britain was destroyed. Places like Coventry didn't exist anymore. As an industrial centre, the Germans had come with bomber raids of 1,000 bombers and flattened that whole area of Coventry. Now multiply that throughout the country needs rebuilding. Take the manpower that had died in battles and battles round the world. There was a shortage of manpower in the United Kingdom. So the Windrushers were invited to please come and help build the mother country. And these are not economic migrants. Let's understand this. These are people answering the call of the mother country for help and support. And let's look at the type of people that were there. 95% of the Windrushers are ex-military. They're military veterans, very much, Paul, your situation. I honour you, sir, and I say thank you for your service, as we should do to all our service personnel. But I find that black service personnel tend to be bottom of the thank you ladder and bottom of the recognition ladder, bottom of the acknowledgement for their service to Queen and country. And in my father's day, remember, in the Second World War, it was to King and country, because we had a king then. Well, those people on the Windrush are all ex-military, mainly from Jamaica, and they mainly ex-Air Force personnel. And people, in talking of Windrush and Windrush history, miss the fact that the first people to come here were not economic migrants. They're ex-military who had fought in the Second World War, knew exactly how Britain worked, because a few years before they were there fighting an enemy that happened to be a quite large white guy from Europe, eating, as my father used to say, sausages and sauerkraut, which are the Germans, and the Japanese, which were the Axis forces, along in the beginning with the Italians, not so at the end. But that was the then enemy. And these wonderful Windrushers are real heroes. We have to recognize their contribution. One, in Britain, you were conscripted into the army. That meant you had to go and fight for your country. So the army, Air Force, or the Navy, you were conscripted. You got a letter and you must go. In the Caribbean, they volunteered. They didn't have to go. But as my father said to his mum, "Mum, I'm going to go and support the fight against Nazism." And my grandmother said to my father, "The mother country has need of you, son." Remember, it's World War, so it's serious. The mother country has need of you. And if you live, it will be a good thing. That's a deep thing for a mother to say to a son. So first, he's volunteering, as did all those on the Windrush, volunteered. Second, they have to make the Atlantic crossing, the North Atlantic crossing. And at that time, the Nazi U-boats were sinking 1 in 3 ships. And you went up north into an area where my father said in the mornings you had to hack ice off of the sides of the ship, otherwise it would sink, off of the riggings and the railings and the side. It was thick with ice. Remember, he'd never seen ice except at, celebration times, and yet it was thick here, freezing cold. And he said one of the scariest things you hear is, "Alert, alert, all hands on deck, alert, alert, all hands on deck." This means you're facing the possibility of being sunk in the North Atlantic. So these guys, in their bravery, first volunteered, second crossed the North Atlantic, where 1 in 3 ships are still there, down at the bottom of the Atlantic today. You had a 1 in 3 chance of dying before you even got to the theatre of war. You see, history is an amazing thing when it's told properly. These are true heroes. Before the theatre of war, they've gone through all of that. We should be telling them, "Thank you for your service." We should be recognizing their great contribution, not telling them and their children, "You need to go back to somewhere that you're not meant to go back to," deporting you illegally, treating you criminally. No, no, no. These are heroes. We should be saying, "Thank you for your service."
Indeed.
That's why he made the foundation.
Indeed, and that is such. I would just like to thank your father and your family for making that contribution, Reverend. That is appreciated. So, Paul, here we are. We've heard everything that the Reverend said. These are situations that you have experienced as well. You signed up to assist the UK in a time of need, and we're now at a point where there's a compensation that is owed to you. There are people, you know, instead of the compensation and the recognition being owed and paid to you, what we do get are people being deported and people not receiving that compensation. Tell us a bit more about your experience regarding compensation. Have you been a receipt of the compensation that is due to yourself?
Well, at the moment, I'm being assisted by a group of lawyers and solicitors called United Legal Access. It's a social enterprise. They're based in Nottingham, and they've been very, very, very good, very, very helpful, and they've been helping me to access what compensation there is to be had. But what I need for people to understand is that, as the Reverend King says, people in the armed forces, I'm not being arrogant to say this, should be put in a different area, a different category as regards compensation. I don't think you really shouldn't have to jump through hoops to say, hang on a minute, give me some compensation. It should be there, right? It should be there. And one of the arguments which I intend to put out publicly in the near future, I intend to form an association looking at this issue, is you are not begging for compensation. You know, we didn't come here to this country as economic immigrants. We came here because we were invited here. And we literally were invited to put your life on the line. And I can't stress that strong enough. You were told your role really and truly is to go out there and die for your mother country. I mean, I always think that, did they put something in the water? You know, seriously, because nobody in the right mind would do that. But yes, it was a time, and we all felt that, you know, there was a need for us to do this because everyone else was doing it. And yes, if you believe in democracy, you want to support democracy, and the ultimate gift you can give to democracy, sad to say, is you. But you did that because you believed in democracy. Now, was it a con? What they get us here under false pretenses? Is it a way of saying, yes, we've had your labor, we've had your loyalty, now pack your bags and toddle off? Is it that?
But so here's the question, Paul. And I mean, Reverend, maybe you've had some people who've come through to you with this as well. You've made this sacrifice, and then this is the mistreatment that's coming to you. How can you express? How can I say it? Express your feelings of this. What was your initial reaction when you're being denied these compensations and being treated in this way, and hearing of people and their children being deported following this choice and this potential sacrifice? You know, putting your life at risk, and now the repayment is that you're not being given what has been promised to you. Have
Paul,
you had
did you
people
want to
come
take
to
that
you?
first?
Paul?
Yeah. Sorry. Well, again, it beggars belief. It's hard to be rational about this particular issue. It's not easy not to blow up, you know, and not to really get on incorrect, right, with your responses. But then again, I mean, losing your temper, allowing anger to take control is not going to solve anything. We are asking purely and simply that the powers that be show the level of respect that we showed for them, basically. I don't think it's right to ask people from the armed forces to jump through hoops for compensation. That should not be on.
No.
No. I mean, again, I mean, we going back to the same issue over and over again. The mere fact, here are a group of people who were expected to put their lives on the line for this country. And
Yeah.
I think the way this country is treating those people is disgusting. You know, it beggars belief. I don't think there's any way at all whatsoever that they can justify the treatment being awarded to that group of people in any form of fashion. Now, I wasn't in the army during World War II, but knowing the conflicts that came after World War II and what we suffered after World War II is is not comparable to what those guys went through. I mean, I can tell you. I mean, you talk about being freezing cold and suffering cold and going on exercises and you know, whereby you were expected even in an exercise to face various difficulties. Then again, you were put on active service. Now, active service really means active service. It means you stand a good chance of losing your life. And I mean a good chance, not being hit by a bus or somewhere falling off a cliff. It means that someone is actually shooting at you to take you out, right? That's what it really boils down to. Now,
Yeah.
we've been through that. The guys who came before me been through that. Plus, I mean, to imagine what they had to endure, it is what it's unbelievable. If you've seen pictures of war films, that has been torn down. A lot of guys will tell you what they've been through in World War II, and of course, they had the extra prejudice to deal with as well. So
Indeed.
you imagine a guy who's gone up there with a very good chance of getting shot to death, and then coming back to his unit and having to deal with the ridiculous, barbaric element of racism. So you can imagine what those guys have been through, and now you are asking the descendants of those people to jump through hoops, literally, for compensation. It's an insult. It really is an insult.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Just very quickly, Reverend, on your side. So this story where we are hearing people in a similar position to Paul, have you had many people approach you and the Windrush Foundation on this situation, seeking compensation and trying to get advice on what they can do next?
Well, quickly, I'll say there's an organisation that my father was a founder member of. The Watsons began it. It's WESA, West Indian Ex-Servicemen's Association, Clapham Manor Street, representing service personnel, male and female. The current name is WASPS, which is the West Indian Association of Service Personnel. The chair is Vince McBean. I'm blessed now to be their padre. So are we approached? Yes, as an organisation, they're approached. The Windrush Foundation, Dion McDonald, who's my daughter, is one of the key personnel, and Arthur Torrington, close friend of my father who began it with him. They're the key people. And of course, they're fully approached. But I would say, Paul, please, if you're not in that organisation, join, because unity is strength. And I would also say, in terms of Black history, we have to recognise some of the greatest feats in the war. People like the Americans, the Tuskegee Airmen, who were supporting bombers, were the best record in the whole of the Second World War. They never lost a bomber. And many fighter pilot cover lost many bombers, but the black ones lost none. And these are the histories that we have to tell. For me as a Christian, I think there's a scripture, all things work for good, that for those that love the Lord and are the called according to his purpose. So God has a way of turning around this wickedness, this absolute evil of the situation with the Windrush and Windrush generation and how they were treated by previous governments. It's now come out, the wickedness that's done, to great shame of the British nation and the politicians. But now there's time for change. And it's alongside Black Lives Matter, worldwide change. And I see a positive time for positive change. And then we've had COVID, where people begin to just care for one another more generally. Very Christian approach. Love one another. The Christ said, the first commandment, love the Lord thy God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And the second is like unto the first, that we love one another. So I'm positive in that I'm seeing a climate of change with COVID. We have a little more time for each other. We appreciate life. There's something I read online that was fantastic. In 2020, at the beginning, people thought of all the things they could get and all you could do. In January, you did your New Year's resolutions, and this year I'm going to have it all. And then as it progressed, I love this post. It said, I've learned now to appreciate all that I have. And I think that sums it up. We've gone through difficulty, but I believe we're blessed. We've gone through trial and tribulation, but I believe the truth is now coming out. So we've had a difficult time, but I believe Black Lives Matter, Windrush, and the tenacity of our people has brought massive change. And the love will change everything. Absolutely wonderful. I think the future's bright.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Well, Reverend Paul, thank you both for the contributions you have made for all of us that are here today. It's not been unseen, and the fight will continue, and we really appreciate it all. And I encourage everyone to get in contact with both of these gentlemen. So guys, thank you very much. It's been really insightful as to what has been going on, and hopefully we'll catch you back soon, just because there is so much more to say on this. It has really been appreciated. Thank you both so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony.
Okay, thank you both. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are off to a short break, and then we'll be joined by Alison Johnson of the Initiative Party. See you after the break. Bye. Hi, welcome back to the Lifestyle Show. Right, okay, right now, I'm going to be talking to a lady who's leading a party that I honestly, I'll be honest, had heard nothing about until they made such a grand gesture to a family who's provided to support to someone who had been a victim of an abuse. So I'm not going to waste any time on this. It's going to be a real pleasure to welcome Reverend Alison Johnson of the Taking the Initiative Party. Alison, how are you?
Good evening. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me along this evening.
No, thank you. And honestly, it's a real pleasure, because the minute that, I mean, the initial video was going viral was so heartbreaking. But what really gave a shining light was seeing the Taking the Initiative Party coming out and awarding that family for that action. That it's so much appreciated. So I'd like to, honestly, the thanking is all on our side to yourselves. So just before we do get into that situation and go in a bit more deeper into who you are, can we just answer the question of who are the Taking the Initiative Party? When did they start? What do you stand for?
Okay, thank you. Very good question. So the Taking the Initiative Party was registered with the Electoral Commission almost 4 years ago, but we'd been quiet. We'd been researching, doing consultation, putting a robust manifesto together, and I think listening, keeping our ear to the ground to really understand what were the needs. It's very easy. Sometimes parents do it, don't they? We decide what children need rather than asking them. And we didn't want to be yet another party that would appear telling people what they needed as opposed to really asking those questions. So we've been building a foundation. The co-founders are two businessmen who had come together quite, I think, challenged by some of the situations that we're seeing here, and have perhaps become quite acclimatized to here in the UK, and decided that this was a time that it was time to do something. So that's where the party was birthed from. What do we stand for? Good God, I'd take all night, but I'm going to say two simple things. Unity is a strategy, and it's about time that working class people, which make up the predominant number of people in the UK, that we came together cohesively and realised, bigger than any differences that we may have, or certainly the media wants to perpetuate that we have, we are stronger together. And actually our similarities or our commonalities are, we have a lot in common. And if we can come together with a strategy, with one voice, then things will begin to change here in the UK.
Powerful. And that is what it's about. It's about having that change, coming together to build a greater UK. I mean, for any country, that for the worldwide, that's the appreciation and concept that we need. Now, we are going to touch on the subject regarding the tragedy that happened in Mitcham, where a young girl was nearly kidnapped. She was a victim of abuse, and this family came up, recorded the situation, and through that we were able to catch the gentleman behind this, and they made such a strong effort. And it was the Taking the Initiative party who, excuse the pun, took the initiative to award this family and really thank them for such a brave, heroic effort. What I mean, and what a way to, for those of us who didn't know yourselves, to be introduced yourselves. What gave you guys the party the impetus to say this is, people need to be rewarded for such heroic actions?
Do you know this? Without making it too corny, we're taking the initiative party, and this family exemplified what it means to take the initiative. This party stood, the young people concerned, that family, they stepped up for community. They were, I'm a reverend, so I'm going to say that they indeed showed what it means to be your brother, or in that case, their sister's keeper. It wasn't whether they knew her, it wasn't about anything to do with that, but just that another human being was in trouble. And what we stand for, the power in community, the power in coming together, the power of caring for somebody regardless of ethnicity, of age, of socioeconomic class, it's got a story to tell of its own. And we thought we cannot ignore it. The media, some parts of it, were very quick to try and take that story down. They didn't want it celebrated. I know, for example, the young ladies' school weren't very keen. I would have thought they'd want to celebrate such heroism or such heroic acts. And again, that didn't seem to be the case. And we thought, actually, we have the autonomy and the ability to actually go and recognize them, recognize their bravery. I mean, the journey's not over for them yet, because when the court case comes up again, that is going to have to be relived. But we thought, isn't it appropriate? You know, we need to nail our colours to the mast, and it's not just words. We are a party of action. So we went, I suppose, without prompting, without waiting. We didn't need permission. We had the ability to go and actually say thank you on behalf of the thousands of people that had seen that video, that absolutely appreciated what they did. And we wanted to make a point of celebrating this family, uplifting them, and also, I think, projecting into the viral space, the virtual space, that young, in this case, a Black family, that they were doing, young people, they were doing good things. It's not all what mainstream media tells us. And that was an essential part of why we wanted to celebrate the family as well.
Yeah, no, and honestly, it was so touching. It put such a smile on my face to see someone award them for the courage that they've done. And in terms of for the party, and I'm not saying it was a publicity stunt on your side. I really appreciate that it's awarding people, but it was also a time for people to acknowledge and recognize this party. What has the feedback been like for yourself since taking action and awarding the family?
Well, you know, let's be honest here. I believe in transparency. Of course, it was going to catapult us into a different space, but nevertheless, even if it hadn't been online, we would have done it anyway. But as a response, people have actually thanked us. You know, I had a personal message on the day saying, a lady was saying in her women's group that morning, they were debating and saying, oh, wouldn't it be good if someone would? And we just happen to be the someone. Too often we always talk about, if all of us, we say, oh, if only somebody would just do this or do that. And we've made a decision that in as many cases as possible, we will be that someone. We won't question or have, you know, conversation behind closed doors. Oh, wouldn't it be good? Oh, if only. Britain needs more than an if only now. It's time for action. It's time for uplifting positive things in our community and in our communities, and not just Black people, but just across, I'm going to say, the diaspora that exists here in the UK. We are a real melting pot. It's not, you know, back in the day, melting pot used to be referred to America and their demographic, but we're a real melting pot here, and there's different voices, different people that deserve to be highlighted, to be thanked and acknowledged. So we've had a lot of people saying, wow, I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you stepped up. I'm glad you know, and also then like, who's TTIP? What the hell's going on? Where did you lot come from? So, you know, as well, it was a chance to sort of then say, well, okay, pop onto the website, have a look at our manifesto, which was released in October now. So it was a chance, as I said, to highlight what we do, to give you a taste of what we're about, and there'll be plenty more of similar action coming your way.
Brilliant. And finally, one other question, because I have heard whispers. I believe you are in the running for London Mayor. Is that correct?
Okay, let me correct you. let's take that back just slightly. I'm in the running for the Croydon and Sutton seat for the London Assembly. Let's just say maybe Mayor will be the step after, just saying. Yeah. But definitely, I want you guys to vote for the party and effectively myself as a candidate, and position us at the table so our voices can be heard. That takes place next May.
Brilliant. And on it, I don't know if you can see it there, we have Mackie McPherson here who's saying exactly, we need to do more for ourselves as a race and network together and invest in one another. Straight facts. So honestly, everything that you guys are delivering is resonating. So that is great stuff. And it's good to see that there is something, there's a glimmer of hope in there. And, you know, hopefully people are aware that there are other parties out there, not dismissing anyone else, but we're just making people aware of who's out there and what manifestos are out there to read up on and follow. So, Reverend Alison, thank you so much for your time.
Can I just quickly just say, got to give the plug of takingtheinitiative.org.uk. Go and have a look online, read the manifesto. If you've got any questions or challenges, please, we're on Instagram as well. I'd be more than happy to hear from you as well. It's Britain, it's time for change. Let's add the great back onto Britain. Thank you.
Love that. Great stuff. No, Reverend Alison, really appreciate it, and keep up the good works, because it really did put a glimmer of hope and a great smile on many faces for what you guys have done, and we expect to see more from that. So thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Alison Johnson of the Taking the Initiative Party. Fantastic work. Do check them out. The website was there, and we will try and get that back up on screen for you again. And right now we're going to go to a short break, and then we'll be joined by the one and only Miss Sherry-Ann Dixon. See you then. welcome back to the Lifestyle Show. Okay, right now, the excitement is in there because it was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I had the pleasure of having an interview with this lady, and I've been so inspired. Her family motto is something that she taught me and passed on, and that was, I can and I will, and I have never, ever forgotten that. And it's always been such a pleasure. There's always a smile on my face when I've seen her at a function, and it's also such a great pleasure to be able to welcome her one more time to the Lifestyle Show, the one, the only Miss Sherry-Ann Dixon.
Hey!
Hey!
What a lovely greeting. And I still have that video that we did. It's on one of those, the picture of it is on one of my web pages. Every time I go on there, I can see me and you chatting at some hotel, some restaurant.
Yeah. Indeed. Yes. I'll tell you what, it's been my profile picture so many times. I always have such a smile when I look back at it, and so much education and inspiration that came from it. So it's a pleasure to have you back, Sherry-Ann. Honestly, thank you.
And when I saw your face when I did the little trial thing earlier on, I was like, watch him. You know, because the words that you said, I can and I will, still is my motto. But I must, as I've added it on somewhere up there on my placard. I can, I will, I must. So now you can say I have on yours.
Indeed. Yeah. Honestly, thank you. That is so appreciated. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it back for the regular viewers have known it, but let's take it back because everyone might be like, I recognize this name, Sherry-Ann Dixon. Mm-hmm. Let's talk of the beginning, the publisher, the editor of Pride magazine, She magazine in St. Lucia. How did that journey begin for you? How did you enter into that world?
Well, first of all, to your viewers, I have to apologize because there's a no hair lady behind me somewhere, whichever. And then there's this one with all the hair. But I have to just say I'm a woman, and that's what we do. We change up things, right? So that's what I've done. I've done a little transformation. Okay, your question was, sorry, I forgot.
Oh, how did you enter into the world of editor, publication, Pride magazine, She magazine? How did it all begin?
I started off years ago when I started off more in PR, right? And while I was in PR, my boss always saw me making up the girls in the office. I was the only black one. They were all white, and then there was me. And the fact that they let me play with them, it's different now, but at that time it was like, Sherry, you do your makeup really well. Can you does gray look good on me? Does this look good on me? And I would use makeup and make them up. And so they're always saying to me, well, Sherry, you need to do this full time. You need to do this. When my boss was leaving, he said, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know, I just need a job. And then he said, no, you need to think more about what you want to do. And I remember thinking, is this man got some sort of impediment? Because he kept saying the same thing over and over again. But then I got the message. He's saying, do something that you enjoy, that you're into. And so I started off, I went and did they paid for me to go and do a beauty course. That was my leaving gift. And I passed that with flying colors. And then I did a makeup artist course. And so I went into beauty. But doing beauty, I started to do a lot of celebrities, Luther Vandross, Diana Ross. I did Margaret Thatcher. At some Swedish event, and it just went on and on that I was mixing in that circle. So I got the title of celebrity makeup artist, and then I got bored. I get bored very easily if I'm not being tested, and so I started to write articles, because obviously I did journalism and I did PR, and they basically just said, so in writing, I was then featured in The Observer, Guardian, Bella, Cosmo, all those sort of, I call it white magazines. And then Pride magazine called me and said, well, how come you're writing for all those people and not me? You're not writing for me. And that's what happened. I was asked to be their beauty PR. And I went in. The first day that I started was the day that we did Lennox Lewis. He was on the cover.
Wow.
That's that was the beginning of it. Then it went on to lots of other well-known personalities. Then Dr. Maya Angelou, Faith Evans, oh gosh, I forget them now. But I did a lot, many celebrities. But then I was offered the job as, after 7 years, I was offered the job as editor. And I thought, oh, okay, it's like another stepping stone. And I did that for 3 years. I actually have to be honest, I didn't really enjoy being an editor as much because I was in charge of everybody else and I didn't get a chance to actually go out there and do the things that I was used to be doing. I basically had to send people out. You have staff when you're an editor, and it's more budget management rather than actually the flair. Everybody thinks it's lovely and flared, and you go in and they can see your picture here, there, and everywhere. But really, it's hard work because you've got to balance the budget. You got to make sure the magazine's out on time. You've got to do so many things that it's actually very stressful. After 10 years in total of being at Pride, I left and I was asked to run She Caribbean, which is based in St. Lucia. My friend May asked me if I wanted to do it. She said she was always waiting for me. I think she was quite shocked when I actually said I'm coming. And I did that for like a year and a half. So that's the editor bit.
Brilliant. And I mean, along the way, there are so many different parts that we can talk on. I remember the last time we spoke that you're always a voice of reason, I would like to say. It's a voice that we like to listen to and gives us the advice. I remember we were talking about the how to treat your skin. You were a campaigner for skin bleaching and, the reasons behind it and showing why people shouldn't do it. And, that is something that we've always appreciated from you. But as well as that, you are a person, as I said, I've stuck with it. I will. A transformational coach, a motivational speaker, a public speaker. How did it come from these writings and being an editor that you then took on the role to doing public speaking and investing in people more?
Okay, I like to tell this story because I think we always talk about it as if we're just on this nice straight journey climbing up there. But when I came back from St. Lucia, I wasn't happy. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was feeling depressed. And I remembered my partner saying to me, I'll come with you and go to the doctor. And I remember thinking, why is he coming all the way from North London to go with me to doctor in South London? But you don't see yourself when you're depressed. And so he came with me. And as I was walking past, say, a car, and I looked into the mirror, I saw a bag lady. That's what I saw. The jeans were big. I had locks then, and my locks I just looked any old how, not the Sherry that you would know. And I went to the doctor, and I remember saying to him, I just find I'm crying all the time. I don't want to do anything. I'm quite comfortable to get a bathe and go back to bed. And I didn't know that was all the signs of depression. And he said to me, have you been off to see anybody? And I was trying to tell him I'm not mad, because that's the thing that you want to say. They're going to think that you're mad. He said, no, depression comes in lots of different ways. And anyway, he appointed me this African lady. And I tell you, that was my lucky day, because I didn't have to explain to somebody who was English or Caucasian about our behaviors. You know how, well, we're afraid to disappoint grandma, auntie, everybody. Mm-hmm. So basically, she understood the journey that I was at, where I didn't know where I was going. Anyway, she said she's going to book me for a month, and every Monday, I think it was, for an hour, we would have this talk. And I did it. I actually conformed, because I'm quite militant. I'm like, I don't need this. Well, it's a load of rubbish. But I actually did it. And in doing that, in her talking to me and me exhaling, I was actually getting invigorated by the things she was teaching me. I was thinking, gosh, this is what I want to do. I want to help people. And so because she helped me to do that, I did the 6 weeks, but then I got into all the books and the transformational and the confidence building, assertiveness training, all these things. I now found a new niche. And I remember doing a talk for Sonia Meggie at in Brixton. I can't remember the name of her company, but it's all again about the motivation. And somebody there, I think it was her auntie, said, would I like to come and speak at Hillcroft College for women? And I went, and I blew them away. I blew them away that weekend because there were doctors, lawyers, politicians. There were all these different types of women, similar to me in the course that I was teaching. And they had such good reports about that they asked me to come back. And then the lady who was in charge said, Sherry, why don't you go and do your coaching license, or why don't you go and do get qualified in it? And I just said, okay. Because at that time I'm saying okay to everything. I just wanted to feel better. And I did. I went and did the teacher training course, and then I went off to do the transformational understanding. Different people, you talk to them in a different way to get the same things coming. And basically I was on the mend. Because I was mending myself while I was mending them. And so I became a transformational coach, healed myself with all positive thinking, positive attitude. And the person that you're seeing here that has now wound up to 30 awards. I've got 30 awards. I've spoken at the United Nations. I've spoken at the House of Lords, the House of Commons, the European Union, United Nations. I think I've said that before. Yeah. Then now I am I'm basically one of the directors of Guyana, where I'm living at the moment, their chambers of commerce. And I talk to people, but mainly women, about how to get your mojo back. How, if you are feeling down or depressed, that it's okay. It's okay to let go sometimes and let those feelings be heard. And it's amazing that's all come up because the princes, the royal princes talked about it. There's so many people that was suffering. I mean, I might have had a 3-month spell, but there are people that are suffering long term with that it's important for people to understand that it's okay to feel down sometimes. It's okay to feel like the world's coming to an end, and it's okay to restart as well.
Yeah, I just want to also acknowledge one of the comments that we had on screen there. One of our viewers there, Brenda Nash, I believe it was, she was saying blessings to you for coming so far. And again, she's just saying well done. And honestly, that is the truth. Hearing the journey and an expansion from where we left off, there were certain bits I didn't know. And one thing I would say is all 30 awards are so deserved because of the work that I've seen you do, the way I've seen you talk and mentor to people who have been students of yourself. It really does deliver. The feedback is coming in and people are really supporting everything that you've done. But just talking of these awards, considering the journey that you had gone through, how did it feel receiving the first award, to know that people really do truly recognize and appreciate the works that you were doing? What was that experience like for you?
I think I cried. I think if there's a tape of it, they will show that as I go to speak, that the awesomeness of it all made me buckle a bit, because the importance of that is my community voted for me. It wasn't just. It was an institution, because institutions will find people and give them awards. This is people voting for me, and that was really great. And I remembered when I won the Women for Africa Award, and that was, it was one of those awards that, it was a coveted award, because they didn't just give it to you because somebody said that you were good. It was that you had to be really well. The accolade had to be there, had to be high, and somebody they basically put my name through. Nobody had to vote, just somebody had to say, I think this lady deserves it, and they do their research. And the woman who runs the company, Toya, basically said, my God, I've been waiting for years for somebody to put your name in there. And then I was up, and I remember speaking the head ladies from Nigeria, Nigerian First Ladies, I was on the stage with them just after them. And this was at a town hall, Kensington Town Hall. I remember thinking, my God, look at this. You know, after knowing the journey where I could have fallen on my knees had I not met that lady. I think so. I think God sends people to help you. And she came in the sense of a job to help me to find myself, because it was always there. I was always writing those articles for Pride. I was always doing that stuff, but it was for me to find my mojo, if you want to call it that.
Indeed, brilliant. There we are. Stevie J, our chart show man, is saying this is amazing, and it is true. I mean, honestly, the timescale we have for you is never enough. I believe there's a lifestyle special to hear the Sherry Dixon story. But now here's something I didn't know, and I must admit, it's when I read it here and I've read the bio. You're actually in Guyana, and here you are, as you mentioned, you are the director of Women's Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Guyana. How long have you been in Guyana? When did this happen? How did it all come about?
I know. I came here first. Before I came to the Caribbean, I decided I was going to do 6 months here. Because, you know, when you come for 2 weeks, you always think, I can live here. But I thought, I'm going to test this out. So I came for three months in Barbados and 3 months here, right? And when I was here, they put on 2 events for me, and it was full. It was packed.
Wow.
Like 150 capacity, and it was overgorged on the sides. And I think, and the same thing happened in Barbados. And I forget that I have such a big following, you know, in the Caribbean. So I think when I came back last year, I said, I'm going to come and live here, and I'm going to rent an apartment, and I'm going to live here. And everybody, you're going to go and live there on your own? You know, that Guyanese accent. And I said, yeah, why not? I live in England on my own. They're saying, they got teeth, man. You got to be careful. I'm like, okay, as long as I make the place secure, I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. And I did, and I came. I've done it. I've now been here nearly 2 years. But last year, they said that they wanted to launch the Guyana. The first Guyana Women's Chamber of Commerce. In fact, it's the first Women's Chamber of Commerce in the Caribbean, right? And they said, would you like to join us? I was like, wow, I've come all the way back home. I'm writing my book, by the way. I'm writing my book, and it talks about from Guyana to London, and now obviously back again. And that's it. I said, yes. And it's been a brilliant journey, albeit that COVID came in when we launched last November, a red carpet thing. But yeah.
Okay, fantastic. As I said, honestly, Sherry, there is never enough time. Here we go. Selena Green. Over 20 years ago, I met Sherry Ann Dixon at Pride magazine when I was doing work experience. Very lovely lady.
Thank you so much, Selena. Oh,
I can only but agree. It's always my heart warms, and I should say that for all guests, and it does. But there's a special warmth I have when I get to see you and catch up with you, Sherry. So no, thank you so much.
I want to end with this, right?
Yeah.
Fair is something that's so debilitating that people don't do what I do. Take the chance, put one foot in front of the other, and just take that minute. Just take that minute to learn something new, do something new. Don't be afraid. Don't stay in England and learn nothing else. The book will be ready, Brenda. It will be. I'm coming back to London in June, so it'll be ready about May. Okay. That's when I'll bring it. I'll come back to London to launch it, and then come back to the Caribbean, because this is really home. But I'm not saying forever and ever. But for now, it feels good that I've got the windows open, the doors open, and drinking coconut water.
And I've got the heating on, but we won't get into that.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
Okay, what's that, sorry?
I said thank you for this interview. It's lovely.
No, thank you. Honestly, it's as I said, it's always a pleasure. And as you can see, it's always inspiring others to hear your journey and what you've done. So no, honestly, Sherry Ann, I hope it won't be another 6 years before we do catch up again. And again, always a pleasure. So thank you so much, and we will catch up soon, I'm sure.
You're welcome. Bye, Anthony. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, then, gentlemen, that was the wonderful Sherry Ann Dixon, who we will catch up with again. As I said, there's so much to be told. But right now, we're off to a break. See you then. Bye. Hi, welcome back to the Lifestyle Show. Okay, right now we're going to enter our second debate today. Now, with this one, we have to be, I dare I say, very careful because of what the subject matter is. So please, I want everyone to understand before I introduce our panel on this, this isn't to do with the Windrush, but it is to do with deportation. And what has happened is the statement I heard, one of our guests was the one who actually passed on this broadcast to a family member of mine, and I couldn't actually believe what I heard. This goes to a member of, well, it's been mentioned for those of you who have seen it, Nick Ferrari of LBC, who made a scathing comment, dare I say, with regards to deportation of, as he said, Jamaican people who have committed crimes. And then he brings up actors such as Fandy Newton, models like Naomi Campbell, who have supported these people staying, as he quoted it. And then the line that has caused so much shock and stir is, so now look out for a Jamaican paedophile or rapist coming to a street near you. And it was so blasé, and it's now something that we need to discuss, a matter of not whether people should be deported, but how the media are using their tone of language, especially in a current time like this. So first of all, I would like to welcome a wonderful person, a former TV personality, a film producer, some even know as a promoter, the one and only Miss Crystal Rose. Hi, Crystal.
Good evening, Anthony. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm Nigerian, so I'm a bit cold. It doesn't matter how many years you're here, I just don't get used to the weather.
I know. And then just before this, we have Sherry Ann in Guyana enjoying the sun, and I'm like, we should be somewhere with sunshine. So I can appreciate that one. And also, I'd like to join at the moment Mr. Roderick Lynch from the Lib Dem. He was the former chair for race equalities. So thank you both for your time in this matter, and hopefully later on we'll be joined by Daddy Ernie. But just while we're here and I have you both, what was your reactions to hearing this statement? Crystal, I'm going to start with you because it was your broadcast that reached to my family member, and I was like, it can't be. And then I heard the audio itself.
I was still in bed. It was just past 7 in the morning, and I heard him say, let me quote him so that I don't get it wrong. I heard, fairly soon there could be a rapist or a paedophile coming to a street near you. And did I really hear that? And then I phoned and I said, I just heard Nick Ferrari say, and repeated it, and she's quite blasé, yeah? But that's racist. Yeah. And I could not believe their attitude was absolutely deplorable. I was so insulted. I'm not Jamaican, but essentially, I mean, who's going to know if a black person's Jamaican or not just by looking at them? Really, they're talking about black people. And the way that he's just race baiting, that is really going out to racists and going to fuel their anti-black feelings towards us. And I just thought it was deplorable. And so initially I just started I sent I phoned, actually I went on to Ofcom and I made a complaint there. And then I called LBC, let them know that I was very unhappy. They really didn't have any response. And so I decided to start a petition. Indeed. And on Friday, Saturday, it was trending. So, I mean, a lot of people agree. Absolutely Indeed. Deplorable. I can't believe it.
I, to be honest, I am still in shock. Roderick, thank you for joining us as well. Please tell us, what were your reactions to hearing this?
I was shocked. I didn't actually hear the broadcast until later on in the day. Someone sent me a copy of it. They managed to download it on the global iPlayer. It was shocking. Nick Ferrari has form for this. He did it in 2020 when there was an issue that came up before. I have debated with Nick on his program as recently as 6 weeks ago. And he fired a question after me and said, well, if you could do anything or change anything on how black people are treated in this country, this is after the statute issues, what would you do? And I explained, I put my case forward, and I said to him, people like me need to feel that we'd be trusted and treated in this country because our parents came to this country as expats. We're not immigrants, we're expats. We came to build a mother country. And the way that you're speaking doesn't allow for fairness. He said what he said, and when I got a bit hostile with him, he cut me off. But that's part of the course. But I've been on this show since. It's diabolical. It's wrong. It's looking at black people, especially in this climate, and showing that we have no worth. Now, in 2018, Stephen Shaw did a review which compelled the government not to be sending people of any persuasion back to their country, especially people that were connected to the Windrush generation and or people that had served their sentence or for any crime in this country. You've paid your dues, you served your sentence. You may have come here at 10 or 11 years of age, and then they're trying to send you back. Now, Ferrari, he's playing to the gallery. Maybe his ratings he's looking for. I'm not sure. But I, for one, wouldn't say Crystal's done doing this petition. I will target global, the people that control, those that they see as where a lot of their money come from, Capital FM, Heart FM, etc., etc. That is what we have to be doing. It's sad, but as a Liberal Democrat, we've been championing this. We've been championing to bring in the Stephen Shaw recommendations, and Priti Patel has point blank refused to implement them. So yeah, there's a lot to do. And he shouldn't be on. He should not be out there. He should not be broadcasting. It is basically, as Crystal said, we don't know who's Jamaican. My parents are from St. Lucia, etc. My father was from Barbados. We don't know who's Jamaican, or whatever, but we know they're black.
Thank you.
So this is what they're going to be doing, especially in these Black Lives Matter times. And by Black Lives Matter, I say that I'm using this slogan because the next thing they'll say is, "Oh, you're putting an ideology out for a leftist organization, etc., etc." They've got answers to all of this nonsense. But at the end of the day, that old chestnut was raised. Racism and racism is now firmly back on the agenda. And if we can't go to a so-called establishment broadcasting organization and accept fair equality, get fair treatment, fair equality for what we're trying to get put across, then we're in trouble, because he is the mouthpiece of the Tory party.
Right, there we go, indeed. But I mean, as you said, you mentioned global, and the both of you have mentioned Black Lives Matter. Now, in a current status where, again, we'll call out global or LBC directly, or even Nick Ferrari, in this time where these people, these individuals or organizations have recognized and supported the Black Lives Matter movement in the ways that they have, it doesn't seem that there seems to be a lack of training or understanding of just the word seems to be a support, but the actions behind the words. Because how can someone show that they have this support for Black Lives Matter, but so scathingly can throw in a nationality? Now, one of the things I do want to say, without attacking anyone else, is it's not just, dare I say, quote unquote Jamaicans. I'm not of Jamaican descent either, but people who are committing these crimes. Yet he was so comfortable to say, look out for, you could have a Jamaican rapist or paedophile on a street near you coming soon.
Yeah, but that's
what's very interesting and has to be noted is that there were no convicted paedophiles taken off the flight.
Indeed, yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And also a really important statistic is that in 2019, of the homicides that took place, 83% of them were committed by Caucasians, only 5% by Black people. So, him trying to get people scared of the presence of Black people is just unfounded. It's ridiculous.
Indeed. And Roderick, you were going to add, sorry?
Yeah, what I was about to say is that flight, especially, and I will use the flight in February, that flight where Nick Ferrari first reared his head on this, whereby the Jamaican people were not given communication aids to call lawyers, etc. They know they know who they want to get rid of, and they've tried every trick in the book to try and deny people their legal right, their legal representation. If you remember, that flight didn't leave, and on this week's flight, 37 people were taken off. So if they can get you, put you into the detention center, and get you out of the country, that is what they're trying to do. It's not there's no mistake here. There's absolutely no mistake here. 37 people got off that flight once their lawyers were able to get them into the system and to get this, the people championed about that, complained and championed the injustice about this flight. So when you look at it, he turned around and said this. Nick Ferrari said in February, now this is where we're going to part polite ways. You're trying to try and tell me it's innocent Jamaicans that are in our prisons. And that was the race stoking the racism, etc. And that is where I've got a problem. He's trying to use the justice system and saying that predominantly the people in there are Jamaicans and they're not innocent. It wasn't people that committed murder, etc., as Crystal said, that come off that flight. Yes, in life there is people do certain things, but you're either Jamaican or British. You came here, the majority of people came here as part of the Windrush generation as expats. They are British. They cannot just come one day and say, we're taking your citizenship. And I'll say this, they couldn't get away with it if the Jamaican government wasn't complicit. Andrew Holness has got a lot to answer for. They are being funded by the British government, and they're allowing these COVID-ridden people to be put amongst the Jamaican people, rightly or wrongly. In this case, wrongly so, and they're using their mouthpiece at LBC to champion what they're trying to do.
I must say, though, I'm not here trying to say it's okay for there to be criminals. I'm not supporting that the criminals were taken off the flight. I think, in fact, if you are a rapist, especially pertaining to children, you should actually be castrated. My gripe is that Ferrari was absolutely race baiting. That's what that was about.
Exactly that. And that is why I wanted to start with it, is that it's not based on the crime. It's based on the race baiting is exactly the word. It's inciting the nation. Now, we've all said ourselves that none of us are of Jamaican heritage, but could be mistaken for it. At this time, I would like to actually bring in a man who is of Jamaican heritage, a renowned DJ, Mr. Daddy Ernie. Ernie, how are you doing, sir? What was your reaction to hearing this statement, this scathing statement from Mr. Ferrari?
Well, let's be honest. Nick has got form on this, hasn't he? I don't know. I've just sort of come in on what you're saying, but he did say to a lady one time that if, in most words, if you don't like the country, then don't be here. Get out. I forget the name of the lady.
Afua Hirsch.
Afua
Hirsch. Correct. And we all saw that. And he's got form on this. He does say things on his show that is, for more of a better word, right up against the rail.
Yeah.
The problem I have is that he's probably untouchable. They're not going to do nothing.
Well, this is it. Here we go. And again, we have to bring this up. Crystal, you have taken this further. Not only did you call them, you have informed them that this is going to Ofcom, and a complaint has been submitted. Would you like to tell us more on that, just so everyone knows the information, so we can possibly see some action taken on this?
Well, Ofcom will investigate someone if they get one complaint. I know that they've had thousands, well, actually hundreds, and it might well be over 1,000. And so they are going to definitely explore it. It will be investigated. I don't know whether they'll actually call me. From what I read on the website, because I haven't actually spoken to anybody because of this COVID issue, it will be 2 weeks, and then they will put in a newsletter on their website what the outcome is of their investigations. But there's been a lot of complaints. It's not the first time, as Ernie said. Ferrari's got for racist, actually, is what we should call him. I've kind of done a hashtag Nick for racist, has got form.
It's shocking. It's unbelievable that it can be taken in this way. And then, when you turn the boot the other way, again, I try to play devil's advocate on this, but you have diversity going out and doing a dance, and it's record-breaking complaints. Yet here we are having a man scathingly just attacking one race of people, and it's nothing. That the action has to take this process. It's unbelievable. Something needs to be recognised.
We all know if he had said something similar about another race that we all know, he would have had a problem. They probably would have had him off air by now, in much the same way that a presenter who was there before, what's his name?
Nigel Farage.
Nigel Farage. He made a statement, and they took him off. I mean, they said that he was coming up to the end of his contract, la-di-da-di-da-di-da, which I didn't believe anyway, but it was just a good way to just get him off. But in Nick Ferrari's case, they ain't going to do nothing. I mean, you heard when Crystal called, the attitude that was taken by the receptionist. Oh, okay, we'll tell him. It wasn't, it didn't give you confidence that there was going to be anything to come out of it.
No, but I do wish that I do wish that we as a community, I think that we might be on about 2,500 or so, 2,600. Why isn't that 250,000? You know, there's enough of us in this community for those numbers to be far higher than they are. When I looked at the amount of people who had gone onto the page to view it, it was, I don't know, 20,000. Why hasn't everybody signed up on the petition? I don't understand. You know, if we don't do anything, how can we complain? I don't understand how people can be so lethargic about things like this.
Well, yesterday, David Lammy, on his program on LBC, obviously has taken up the cause because he invited a young lady on there that one of her family members was supposed to be on that flight. And they were talking about the flight and for what Ferrari said. And so David Lammy said he was appalled. And as Tina gave her reasons why on the first ever time, one of her sister's husbands went down to Jamaica and was subsequently killed on return. And then the sister dodged a bullet this week where she wasn't on the flight. It was painstaking. It was gut-wrenching to listen to. And David Lammy made his position quite clear that he wasn't siding with what Farage had said. So there is some good people in there. But what we have to be able to do is to get the momentum behind us, to be able to hit them where it hurts with their advertisers, campaign about them to the people that advertise with them. Do you want to be seen advertising around these shows that are basically racist in every shape or form? Anything to do with any minority is always downplayed and downtrodden, what have you. And Ferrari, for one, on speaking to me, has given me short shrift every time I've raised race with him, and that's on numerous occasions.
Short shrift in what respect? What do you mean? What's I
had the discussion with Ferrari after Black Lives Matter protests. I had a discussion with Ferrari after the statues were thrown in the drink in Bristol. I spoke to him in February this year when the people didn't have the SIM cards to call their lawyers or what have you, and the flight was halted. And he said, yeah, but he did say then they're Jamaicans, and that's when he used the phrase. So you're telling me there's innocent Jamaicans in prison that we shouldn't deport, and once we've given them their SIM cards, we can deport them thereafter. So he quite clearly, as Ernie said, he quite clearly oversteps the line and goes right up against it. He's just playing to his gallery to keep his ratings. He's not just got to be attacked and taken down. They've got a lobby. People that advertise around his shows.
It doesn't help, though, when the so-called leaders of the world, Boris, with his ridiculous comments about Muslim women and, you know, looking like letterboxes and bank robbers, Trump had the audacity to tell 4 congresswomen of color that they need to go back home when 3 of them were born in the States and 1 is there legally. And quite frankly, the States was built by Black people. So if anybody needs to leave, it should be him, I would suggest.
It's true. I laugh, but it's true. It has so much truth to it.
The decision makers, the politicians that make a lot of the decisions that we could lobby, etc. Some of them, once they get in there, you think, okay, all right, Lammy's an exception, but quite a few of them, once they get in there, they want to climb the greasy pole, so they don't step forward. Florence and Abina went into the House earlier in this year. They were treated bad on race grounds. I was on BBC talking about it, but they didn't want to say who did it to them because they're happy where they are now. They pull up they tell you one thing, they've got their drawbridge in the other hand, pull up the drawbridge and forget about, oh, now I'm through the door, I'll climb the greasy pole, and forget about the people that put me there to represent us. So you then look at all right, fair enough, we've had issues this week where we lobbied people to stop the flights, and you've got a Labour front bench, like stood back, as Gary Neville said. The government needs an opposition. You can't delay a football match and then decide you're not taking part.
And what is Keir Starmer up to? What is he up to?
Exactly. He did
and
nothing.
Then where he says he wants to get RT taken off the air. What's the other thing he said? Oh yeah, he wants to any anti-vaccination discussion. He wants that to be made illegal. Or how does he think I'm an adult? I will make up my own mind about what's good or not for me. That's why I could never be an MP, because I can't kowtow, you know, and he says there's a 3-line whip and you're not allowed to voice your own opinion. Actually, some of the Labour MPs did rebel, didn't they? And they did vote against
Although it's a new leader, I say this. When the white working class deserted the Labour Party and went and the so-called red wall was turned blue wall up north, it's the black people that stuck with the Labour Party. And when we needed them to stand up for the Jamaicans for this flight, what did they do? They didn't take part. They stood back and did nothing. They let it go through. So I will say this to everybody. There's a saying called the land. Why should we be beggars with the ballot in our hand? We've got a ballot. We can do something about this. If they don't want to give us equality, they want us to champion these people on LBC and let them get away with it, then hit them in the ballot box, hit them in their pocket, hit them with the advertisers. That's what we need to do.
Indeed.
Definitely have to go the advertisers route.
Yeah. Time, unfortunately, is pressing, but I totally agree, and thank you all so much. So what I am going to do right now, once again, Crystal, because you were the one who made all of us aware, can you just give out all the information for anyone who would like to support it? Because the comments have come in, and I thank everyone for the comments that have been there. What is the next step? What can we do next? How can they complain to Ofcom and follow up on this?
Well, Ofcom's very easy to access. Just Google it, essentially. And then it's very easy to make a complaint. There's just a list of details that come up in a box, and you just fill it all in. If you want to know the time that it actually happened, because that's one of the questions that is asked, it was 7:21 in the morning. It was on last Thursday. I'd like to very much get in touch with Frederick so that we can, plot a way forward, because now if I end the petition tomorrow, I want to be able to maximise, what we have there. And if that's going to the advertisers and say, these are the people that are against Nick Ferrari, definitely sending it to LBC and letting them know that I don't speak as a lone person. A lot of people are against what he said. And it's a pattern that's continuing. We don't want to get up in the morning and hear racist rhetoric from this racist, because it's exactly what he is. And if he wants to challenge me, I'm fine with that.
Perfect. Denise Fox has said to us, hit them where it hurts, hit them in their pocket. So for you, Roger, can I get your closing comments? Because this is what you have said about the advertisers. What are your closing comments on this situation?
My comments are this. There's only one way to deal with this. We are a small force compared to that big Goliath up there. They have a so-called darling of the Tory party. Well, there's two on LBC. There's Nick Ferrari and Ian Dow. They protect them at every turn. But no company, no establishment will support anybody like this when their fuel, their money is impacted. Let's get together. Let's find out who the advertisers are, and let's bring this thing right out in the open. If they don't take him down, there's ways we can try. But first and foremost, even if he apologized, that's not enough, because he's done it time and time again. From February to now, he's done it 3-4 times. And this time, it was blasé, it was in the open, it was if you don't matter. Here we go again. Innocent Jamaicans in prison. Come on. That's what he said. Exactly those words. So I say.
And then try to placate himself when he said, I've got a Jamaican football shirt, as though that makes you okay.
Well,
there we are. Now it's down to a football shirt.
That old chestnut.
They always say that my best friend is Jamaican, or my best friend is.
That's it. Oh, my next door neighbour. My neighbour's one of yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Unfortunately, what was the saying that the Tories used to say? If you want an end for a neighbour, vote Labour.
Vote Labour.
Yeah.
Indeed. That speaks volumes. Indeed. Ernie, your closing comments.
Well, I'm very much. From I heard that we wanted an apology, I was definitely against that, because anyone can say sorry and just snigger around the back door. I mean, hopefully, I think at best we're going to get him reprimanded. But I think there should be something within his contract that says that he can't be saying these statements on the radio. He can't be saying this statement anyway, because he says it on the radio and he says it on TV.
And on tweets. Yeah.
Farage, they've set a precedent with Farage. Farage said what he said and they dumped him. And
they dumped him.
This is what should happen here. I say remove him, bring in Tom Swarbrick, someone that's a more liberal-minded man. He can discuss, debate.
Put David Lammy in the breakfast show.
Yeah. or doesn't.
And they also
doesn't
got
even-
rid of Katie Hopkins as well, remember?
Indeed,
Yeah.
they
At the end
did.
of the day,
Indeed, they did.
at the end of the day, they're listening, but they're not. It's not going far enough because you've got them people that lead it. The main players that they lead it. They've got racist overtones all over their body, mate. And all I can say to everybody out there is this: you need to go to Ofcom. All right, we had a sister at Ofcom. She's now at John
Your
Lewis,
voice-
but I don't take away from
Yeah.
it. At the end of the day, by using the regulator, there's some good things that we can do. We can do. We can get them.
Indeed, guys, thank you so much for your contributions. Unfortunately, we're all out of time, but thank you. Do support, do hit up Ofcom, let them know exactly what it is. The information's there. We will
And
put
go to
up-
change.org. Can I say go to
Yeah, please do.
change.org in order to sign the petition?
Yeah, okay, there we are. There is a petition on change.org. Okay, guys, thank you all so much. And we're off to a break. Yeah, do support it, change.org. We're off to a break. Bye-bye. Okay, Linda, and welcome back to the Lifestyle Show with me, Anthony Jordan. Right now, it's a pleasure to bring back a young gentleman, the roving correspondent who likes to bring the news. It's time to put a spotlight on things. Welcome, the one and only Mr. Norman Basigu. Hey, you're muted, Norman, sorry.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah,
That's technology for you.
perfect.
How's it going this evening, Anthony?
Very well, thank you. Very well. How about yourself?
Perfect. Great to hear it. Great to hear it. And yeah, first of all, I really enjoyed that talk just now and the content of the program thus far. It's been really enjoyable and it's great to be back.
No, it's a pleasure to have you back. So, Norman, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. Take it away.
Awesome. Cheers. Thank you, Anthony. And I'd love to say hello, everyone, and welcome to this installment of Spotlight, a segment where I, as an international news correspondent, will be covering the latest in African and Caribbean current affairs. My name is Norman Basigu, and we are very thankful to all of those who are tuned in and watching right now. And we hope you enjoy the overall program. Now, in today's segment, I'll be giving the spotlight to recent affairs happening in Barbados and in Mali. So beginning with Barbados, I'll be focusing on the recent independence celebrations and calls to remove Queen Elizabeth II as their current head of state. So here's the scoop. On Monday, the 30th of November, 2020, this marked Barbados' 54th anniversary of independence from Britain. This day is recognized as a national holiday on the island. The independence celebrations run throughout the month of November and include competitions, fairs, and religious services. Now, on Independence Day, a grand parade is usually held at the Garrison Savannah, the site of the original independence ceremony in 1966. Although COVID has put a bit of a span in the works in terms of meetings and mass gatherings and things of that nature, this did not stop the Barbadians gathering in Heroes Square during the day to celebrate. But now let's get some context to their independence. Well, Barbados gained its independence from Britain on the 30th of November of 1966 through the Barbados Independence Act of 1966, which granted independence. Now, as a result of the act also, Barbados became the fourth English-speaking country in the West Indies to achieve full independence from the United Kingdom, after Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guyana. And at independence, Barbados became a member of the Commonwealth. Now, that being said, this is where things get interesting. Now, this particular independence celebrations in 2020 is very interesting because it comes against the backdrop of recent conversations being held in Barbados to remove Queen Elizabeth II as the head of state in Barbados, signifying a true break from its colonial ties with the British Empire. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley in September 2020 stated the following: "The time has come to fully leave our colonial past behind. Barbadians want a Barbadian head of state." Now, becoming a republic previously has been suggested by Barbadians in 1998 and 2015, just like in other countries, including Jamaica. Now, the concern from the UK monarch does not appear to be being removed as the head of state, but rather that Barbados does not leave the Commonwealth, which is quite interesting. Now, the Barbados Prime Minister has put this decision front and center of her new policy agenda. And why, you ask? Well, this comes following the recent events of this year around the global Black Lives Matter movement, which have stoked flames surrounding the very complicated topics such as slavery, equality, and reparations. And by way of context, Barbados' colonial history began in 1625, where it became a center for the brutal transatlantic slave trade, with freedom from slavery coming over 200 years later. Now, interestingly, Barbados is one of 15 other realms around the world where the UK monarch is also their queen. Countries like Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago have previously removed the queen as their head of state. And on a final point, why is this removing the queen as a head of state important for Barbadians and this move towards becoming a republic? Well, several things are worth mentioning. Removing colonial ties and the mental shackles of the past signify a real move towards a more independent and industrial future, a newer and empowering form of sovereignty for the people of Barbados. And simply because, well, one could argue, well, why should Barbadians have a head of state that's thousands of miles away, that's really based on bloodlines and history of that nature? And lastly, the economy of Barbados still heavily depends on the West, and like many other countries, still wants its reparations for the economic damage done, causing poverty for what we see today, and that dates back to slavery, of course. And so removing the Queen as the head of state could be a real step towards achieving those changes that people want to see. And so on a closing note of this story, it's important to remember that change does not happen overnight. So even if the Queen was removed as the head of state today, that probably wouldn't lead to overnight changes we would all like to see, of course. And the nature of history is that change does take a long time, so it's worth bearing that in mind. And that wraps up the first story and the first spotlight of this week. Now, onto the second spotlight, where I'll be focusing on Mali, where military bases have come under terrorist attack on the 30th of November of 2020. So here's the scoop. 3 military bases housing foreign forces in northern Mali came under separate attacks within the space of a few hours, according to officials. Now, it's said that the attacks have come after French forces killed Ba Ad Moussa, a military leader of Al-Qaeda's North Africa wing, on November 10th. Now, going into more detail on the attacks which took place, it's reported that Islamist jihadists launched several attacks on French army bases in Kidal, Gao, Meneka, which were targeted by rocket and shell fire on Monday. Now, according to the French army spokesperson Thomas Romaguer, only the base of Minnesuma, located near the French camp of Kidal, suffered some damage. Now, the attack, claimed by the Sahel branch of the Al-Qaeda, was condemned by the United Nations, which reported about 10 shells. This was one of several Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist affronts in the north of Africa, as Bahrain forces were simultaneously targeted on Monday morning in northern Mali, which has been the setting of jihadist violence since 2012, despite efforts from the UN and foreign allies forces to subdue the crisis. Now, giving you some context around Mali, northern Mali has been one of the epicenters of violence and rebel attacks since 2012, unfortunately, and this is despite the presence of thousands of UN, foreign, and French forces. Rebels who once controlled northern Mali were rooted into a French-led military operation in 2013, but they have since regrouped. Large stretches of the country, unfortunately, remain outside of government control, and thousands of soldiers and civilians have been killed, and hundreds of thousands have had to flee their homes because of the fighting. Attacks on the camps of international forces in Mali are frequent, but the events of the 30th of November are said to be the first time that several towns several hundred kilometers apart have been assaulted around the same time, in what appears to have been a rare attempt at a coordinated attack on foreign troops operating in the conflict-hit country. Now, on a last point here, giving some context to the socio-political instability in Mali, unfortunately, it is no stranger to instability and violence. Yes, in June in 2020, protests were taking place in Mali, calling for the resignation of the then President Keita. Protesters were displeased with the management of the ongoing insurgency, alleged government corruption, the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and a floundering economy. On the 18th of August 2020, elements of the Malian armed forces began a mutiny. The soldiers detained several government officials, including the then President Keita, who resigned and dissolved the government. This was the country's second coup in less than 10 years, following the 2012 coup d'etat. And on the 21st of September, a new interim president was named, and this government is supposed to preside over the interim period of 18 months. And so that, ladies and gentlemen, is our second spotlight for this week. And that sums up my segment of Spotlight, African and Caribbean current affairs, where I've discussed this week affairs happening in Barbados and in Mali. I thank you very much for tuning into my segment, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. I've been your presenter and international news correspondent, Norman Basigu. Until the next time, stay safe and stay blessed, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Okay, so the shirt is off. It's entertainment corner time. We're going to take a different flow and feel to this. So before I bring in the man himself, Mr. Stevie J, I've got two very, very short pieces of news that I want to bring up. First of all, congratulations to Hansib Publications. 50 years in the business. Absolutely amazing. Something to be celebrated. Arif Ali was on the show just a couple of weeks ago. So congratulations to Arif and all down at Hansib Publications for the great works that they have been doing over the past 50 years. And in a more of a touching note, Letitia Wright, some may know her from, she was in the first Steve McQueen film, which was about the mangrove. She's also of Top Boy fame. She's also of Black Panther fame. She has deleted all social media recently due to outbreaks and feedback, fan backlash, if you would, because of her statements where she posted a video and agreed about anti-vaccination. It wasn't so much that she agreed, but more that she was questioning, should we be taking the vaccine? And also, she also liked to comment where someone said that we should cancel Black Panther 2. We do believe it's in speculation and following the passing of Chadwick Boseman, but she did put out a statement that once you go against the grain, the world sees you as a villain. And since then, sadly, Letitia has deleted all social media, but a fantastic actress. And what can I say? It's sad that she's not on social media, but hopefully, please, let's not cancel such a fantastic, talented young individual. Right, okay, now is the time that many of you have been waiting for. Those magic 3 words. It's not for me to say it. It's down to this gentleman, the one, the only, Mr. Stevie J. How you doing, Stevie?
Hiya. How you doing?
I'm all good. All good. How are you?
I'm very, very good. Lots of excitement in the chart show. As you know, you're
Brilliant.
all planning, you're all waiting for this to come in. We now have 3 Xmas tunes in the chart show. We now have
It's beginning to feel like that time.
It is 2 R&Bs in the chart show. We have a opera reggae orchestral track in the chart show. And we have Lovers Rock and Roots and Rubber Dub all in the Stevie J chart show. What do you think about that, Anthony?
That is something that's really exciting. Reggae opera. This is a new touch, but you know what? This is what I love about the Stevie J chart show is that everybody and anybody, as long as you're based in the UK, you have a right to be in the chart show, a chance to be recognized, and a chance to be featured right here on the Lifestyle Show as part of the Entertainment Corner, and a chance to be the very treasured, the highly anticipated Christmas #1. Over to you, Stevie.
Absolutely. You know, we're only 3 weeks away, and I tell you something, they're going mad. The purchases are brilliant. Votes are brilliant. The public, wow, it's down to you. I know you are now saying those 3 famous words. Wow, wow, wow. But you know what I am like? We've been waiting for this. Here is the official Stevie J Top 10. Let's go.
Going down to number 10 this week. He had a great run in the chart show. It's Angel in the Night by the man Davey Hall.
In this world. Ooh, alright. You're my angel in the night. Ooh, alright.
In at number 9 this week, it's Back in the Days, Just Linda, featuring Sesmayer.
This is from me to you. Back in the day. You remember them days, baby? I remember them well. I think we should just get together and bring it forward. What do you say? I think we should definitely bring Back in the Days. All right. Back in the day.
Number 8, can you believe it? It's Love Me Tonight. It's Ras Charmer featuring Shandy.
It's another boom tune out of the Starboy production. What a beautiful princess, Shandy. Sing for them, baby.
We're going out tonight.
Yep.
And babe, I'm ready for you.
Ready for you too.
Gonna have the time of our lives.
Yep.
You know I'm crazy about you. Wearing that $1,000,000 smile.
Whoa.
And you're looking so fine.
Thank you. You
so
too.
proud of you, baby. And I love it when I see you shine.
Going down to number 7 this week, he's already been at number 1. It's the wonderful sounds of Mr. Brian St. Rose and his famous little track now called Catch a Vibe.
Ooh, lady. Ooh, lady. I saw you cross the room, girl, and I'm really liking your style.
Going up this week in the chart show, he goes by the name of Johnny Too Bad, and he's killing it with a track called I Love You.
First of all, I'd like to say, how do you do? No need for introduction.
Going up to number 5 this week, he's creeping up. It's Trevor Dixon and his lovely, wicked little track called Lovely Day.
Made it this way. Such a lovely day. The sun is out, the sky so blue. Mother Nature's hailing me.
Can you believe it? Number 2 last week goes down to number 4, and it goes by the name of Damau, and Someday We'll All Be Free.
Spread the news to your neighbor. take it from me. We'll bear the fruits of our labor someday, some way. On to the world as it spins around.
Going up to number 3 this week. She's still moving. She's still moving. It's the wonderful lady Danny Myers and this wicked little soulful track called Summer Love.
You got me feeling so. Summer love. You got me feeling so hot. Summer love. You got me feeling so. Summer love.
It's mad in here. It's mad in here. Top 3 going crazy, crazy, crazy. Going up now to number 2. She goes by the name of Charmaine X, and she's still trying to find the key. The famous line, wow, 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 what can I say? He's at number 1 for a second week. He goes by the name of Mr. Diamond, and he's still loving you for life.
Wow, wow, wow. As Stevie J would say. Guys, this is Mr. Diamond, and I'm here once again to show my love and my appreciation for your support. I want to thank you for purchasing my song and voting for me on the Stevie J chart show. With your vote, I am now number 1 on the chart show for a second week in a row, so I want to thank you for your support. I also want to thank Stevie J once again for recognizing my song, Love You for Life, to be the number 1 song on the chart. With your vote, guys, I've now gotten 2 certificates. Download my track, purchase my track, Love You for Life, and vote for Mr. Diamond on the chart show, and keep Mr. Diamond on the chart show. Guys, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. Blessings, Mr. Diamond.
Oh, baby, please. I can't afford to lose you. My heart can never beat without your love. I can never make it on my own. No, no. Tell me, baby, what is wrong with us? Oh. I've been waiting for you. Girl, you know I'm missing you so much. How can I go on without your touch, girl? I wish that you just keep this between us. Baby, why the rush? Girl, I just wanna love you for life. Love you for life and always. And always that. Girl, I just wanna love you for life. Love you for life and always. And always, girl. What am I to do? There's no way I'm living without you.
Wow. Wow. Can I just say, while those were playing, Brendan Nash, Life of Jazz, Lillian Harper, The Inspired Diabetic, Christopher Taylor, who I believe is Mr. Diamond, Nubian Queens, all of you, thank you for your comments. It just amplifies what was going on. Loved everything about that. Congratulations to Mr. Diamond. 2 weeks in a row. That's powerful.
Yes, it is. It certainly is. Because what you got to remember is when you come into the chart show, we don't know what number we're going to be. We don't know what the public think. We don't know what the votes are going to be. But you guys are getting these artists recognized. That is one of the great things we have going on in the chart show. And I hope your collection is getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. What do you think, Anthony?
I love it, Stevie. I love it. And to be honest, that is what I'm looking for. I'm just wondering if Mr. Diamond, like he had both awards there, will he be juggling 3 of them next week? You know, it's so exciting to know what could come over. You know, Stevie, keep up the good work. I love everything about the chart show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And don't forget that you can catch the chart show live this Tuesday from the hours of 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on stingdemradio.com. And you can also catch it on pullupradio.com and skylineradio.org.uk. Come on, watch it live. I'll be there Tuesday. Until then, leaving you with 3 words. Wow, wow, wow. Over to you, Anthony.
Thank you very much, Stevie. Wow, 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 indeed. Always a pleasure having you on. And Mr. Diamond, I just see it. He has put out there, appreciate you all, guys. Enough love and respect. So, Stevie, that's to you. That's to everyone out there who voted and purchased the track. Keep it up, guys. Keep it up. Stevie, thank you very much. We will catch you next week.
Okay, out of here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Stevie J with the chart show. And now I'm going to bring in a guest who's been on the show before, and who knows? He's got a new track out. It may also be in the Stevie J Chart Show. It's the one, the only Rebel Soul, Mr. Tanai Brown.
Greetings.
Greetings, Tanai. Thank you. Thank you to be back on the show again. Wonderful to have you.
Thank you for having me. You know, blessed love, man. Thank you.
No. It's an honor, and it's a big track. I've had a chance to play it. A nice little video that's come out there as well with it all. I believe there's an album to go with the single. Is that right?
It is the album of the same name, Rebel Soul, you know, and you know it's been a journey. It's been a labor of love, I like to say.
I can imagine.
Yes. So how's things with you?
They've been good. They've been good. And do you know what I love, right? Despite it there being journeys, we've all had these journeys going on. We've had the pandemic, we'll leave it as that. All of that's going on, but we are here to celebrate and see that despite all of that going on, we have artists like yourself who could tune back in with us and be like, this was the beginning, and here we are. A couple of months down the line, we're back. The music's still flowing. The albums are out. So tell us about it. What have you been up to since we've last saw you on the show?
My phone is linked. I should have took my phone out, you know?
No problem. It happens.
Yes. You were saying.
All right. Sorry, I was saying, like, so with all that's happened, tell us the journey from since we last saw you on the show to now with the album. How's it all been? Well, tell us about the musical journey that is Tanai Brown.
Well, how much time you got? But yes, it's been a long journey. You know, from the last time I was on the show, I had a few tracks already recorded. But you kind of have to keep these things under your belt until it's the right time, you know. But the journey it's been a long journey. We've had ups and downs, you know. But we came out the other end because we all believed in ourselves and believed in, you know, what we were doing. And yes, I am pleased with the outcome. But we've had a few little personal struggles, you know, that life throws us at sometimes, you know. Yeah. And, you know, you still, you know, as much as you're doing what you're doing, you still have to kind of deal with those everyday things that come up in life, you know, whether it's family or personal matters, you know. But but it's been, you know, it's been a positive journey still, you know, you know. So you know, we're grateful for the response so far. The response has been very good. The album has been received very well, and it's just in its first week, you know. So we're pleased right now, definitely pleased.
Brilliant. So just tell us a bit more about Rebel Soul, the album. How many tracks are on it? I know you had a journey, so I won't say how long did it take to put out, and the pandemic has been difficult, but some of the tracks that's on there. Warning was the last track that we heard from you when you were here before.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 11 tracks on the album. The first track is called Africa, and that's kind of one of my favorites. I kind of love that track. I love all of them. It's my song still, but yes, we have Africa, Someday, reggae music, Warning, as you already know, Can't Get You Out of My Head, The Order, Broken, Reasons to Love You, and Sign of the Times. And obviously Rebel Soul, the title track of the album, which originally I'd done on a track before, a proper, reggae track. But I decided that it could do it in an acoustic vibe, So originally I just had myself, the vocal and guitar, acoustic guitar, left it with my producer, Paul Horton. And when we go back to him, boy, he'd done this and he'd done that and put strings and drums, and I just thought, wow, I just didn't see it coming, And so many people that heard the tracks, the consensus that Rebel Soul was the biggest track on the album, even be it a semi-acoustic track, So I'm quite pleased with that track. I'm pleased with all of them, but I'm pleased with that track, And so yes, we have a video, which took over 1,000 views at the weekend. Its first weekend, so it's being received very well, so far. So I'm pleased.
That's big. That's big. So I'll tell you what, right now we've talked about it and it is the track of the moment. It's hit big numbers in such a short space of time. Would you like to introduce Rebel Soul?
Could you repeat that again? There was a slight bit of interference.
All right. So I was just saying, we've talked about the track. I'd like to give you the honor to introduce the video, Rebel Soul.
I don't know if it's your mic, but every time you speak, it's, for some reason, it's just like crackling,
Can you hear me now? Am I coming through?
Say that again.
Okay, right. Just in case anyone else can hear me right now, we're going to play Tanai Brown's video, Rebel Soul. Enjoy.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Father, hear my voice. Can you hear my cry? Father, send another rebel soul. Do we need a shepherd to lead us? Another one like Marcus. Father, send another one that is bold to come and retell our story like it has never been told. Some have amnesia, quick to forget what the Babylon system has done, how we get caught in their nets. Many kingdoms rise and many kingdoms fall. Some will never know themselves until them back is against the wall. We need a Marcus Garvey to keep the fire burning hotter than hot. Father, send another rebel soul. Do we need a shepherd to lead us? Another one like Marcus. Father, send another one who is bold to come and retell our story like it has never been told. Many have come and left their mark, couldn't take away the love deep in their hearts. If they could, we wouldn't have a Marcus. If they could, we wouldn't have a Marcus. Who did rise up in adversity to be counted by everybody? A long time it can't stop, say so. We need more loving at the ghetto. We need more love. We need more love. Yes, we need more send another rebel soul. Do we need?
Okay, what a fantastic track. Tanai, sorry we had to cut that there, but absolute pleasure. Loving the track. We will be featuring it again on the Lifestyle Show. But just for anyone who wants to get in contact with yourself, how can they do that and how can they purchase Rebel Soul?
Well, you can purchase Rebel Soul. You can download it from all internet stores, iTunes, Amazon. You can download it from tanai.bandcamp.com. You can get in touch with me via Facebook Messenger, Instagram, Tanai Brown, also Twitter, Tanai Treebound. You can find me in all those.
Right, all the contact details are down there for everyone to enjoy. Tanai, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you back on the show. Let's keep in contact, as we said. Keep up the good work, and we'll definitely catch up again.
Thank you very much. And to all the listeners, big up yourselves. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out the album Rebel Soul. Big up Music Media Management. Big up Sharp Bass Management. Big up everybody. Tanai Brown says so. It's peace and blessings, one love, guidance and protection.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tanai. Absolute pleasure to have you on. Ladies and gentlemen, Tanai Brown, Rebel Soul. Here's the album cover. Support it. Great music. You just heard a bit of Rebel Soul, the title track. For all to enjoy. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are so pressed against time. I'm just going to put the competition out there. This is your last chance to win the hamper before Christmas. So for your chance to win a Dalgety Tees luxury hamper, there we are. All you have to do is answer this question. You know what? I'm gonna honor Stevie with this one. Which artist has been #1 for the past 2 weeks? That's all we have to do. So all you have to do to enter that and answer that question is email lifestyleonben@hotmail.co.uk, and that fantastic Dalgety Tees hamper will be on its way to you just in time for Christmas. It will keep you warm on those snowy nights, potentially snowy, but hey, that's the way it goes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are all out of time. All I would like to say is do tune in. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We are on Sky TV on channel 195. I did slip up last week. We recently moved. Forget 458. It's all about 195. Friday 10 till 12, Monday 5 till 7. If you would like to contact us through the socials, Lifestyle on Ben, Lifestyle Show TV on Instagram, Lifestyle TV Show on Twitter, Lifestyle Show TV on YouTube, and Lifestyle on Ben on Facebook, as I previously said. Please like, share, comment. Unfortunately, Brenda, he's gone, but I'll try and get a special dedication out there just for you on that one. Guys, be safe, be calm. Have a nice one. Stay safe. Until next week, I'm out. Anthony Jordan. Have a nice weekend. Bye.